You said like if anything were to happen to you, you feel safe like leaving me like with him basically.
I don't know this nigga. No, I'm just kidding.
So funny. Crazy.
Yeah, I don't know that. I ain't know that shit.
Me neither, bro.
Well, I did know a little bit, but I ain't know that.
You know all of it.
Yeah, it's like a Disney movie.
If I was using the app, it'd probably be a lot of lies.
Oh God.
You know, I'll just be trying to get something. You know what I'm saying? So I just be.
He's like, if we're being honest.
I'll just be doing what I can to whatever's will work to get some from the finest chicks. That's what I'll be trying to do.
But what you doing, babe? No. You guys, we have limited edition, not your hoodies just in time for Valentine's Day. Get yours only until February 7th. Now let me get your hoodie.
No.
It fits me better.
No.
It fits me better.
No.
Get yours, thecreatorsmerch.com. Baby. So welcome to the Unsingle podcast. I'm Shan.
Oh, I'm Jamal. My bad.
Is this our first date?
No, I was looking at your hair. It's just flowy.
Oh yeah, I have a straight hair today. One of the many new things we have going on aside from my straight hair, we are now sitting next to each other. We're on the same side of the couch.
Yes.
And you might be wondering why that is. It's because we have guests on this episode. We're kicking off February, all month of February, because it's the month of love. We want to feature some like couples and have guests that we can talk to and just talk about love and everybody's journey and how we're all navigating this thing. So to kick off February, I have the magnificent Miles and Vanessa Mussenden.
He got shot off the boss.
These people are. Miles is an actor extraordinaire. He has a very familiar face. You've probably seen him in every show you could ever imagine. Vanessa is the lovely supporting wife, a mother of 5 kids, a hardworking lady, and she's my mom, and he's my dad.
Yeah. They're my parents.
They're my parents, but
that's funny.
Yeah, but I wanted to kick off February with you guys because you guys have been together for how long?
So this year we'll make 32, I think.
30?
Well, together
32.
married.
32 plus 6.
I was about to say, you've been married
for 32, together for 38.
Because I'm how old am I? I'm 30.
You're about 45.
5. I'm 35.
Yeah, so you were in our wedding, right? So
Yeah. I have
Yeah.
pictures. I'm in the wedding, so y'all been together at least 35 years. I know that. But
Yes.
But you guys have been together for married 32 years, together for like 36 years or whatever. And I feel like that number, I think, is like shocking to people.
Yeah.
Because literally nobody.
I think it's mostly because it's fuzzy math.
What do you mean?
Because 32 years and 6 years is not 34, so.
It's 38.
Oh, I did math wrong.
Well, they've been together 38
That's
years.
even more shocking.
They're going on 40 years being together.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I feel like that's just like nobody's together that long anymore.
At least nowadays.
Nowadays.
Well, remember, it's a generational gap. So why do you feel like 40 years is doable compared to like in our generation, 40 years seems like so far-fetched?
Well, for me, I think that not just in marriage, but in life in general, I think y'all's generation quit quicker. Just
Quit
in general,
quicker.
like you're moving around jobs quicker. If you're not happy,
You out.
You are out of there, and that.
She's like, yeah, that's it.
That is true. No, that is true.
Yeah, so it just doesn't. They don't. And this whole self-love and self-worth and prioritizing yourself is an era that came out after. And so some people take that as meaning like if I'm not happy, I'm not here.
What do you think so you feel like people interpret it as like just to mean if I'm not happy, I'm out. Because the concept of like self-love and like those things are important. I do think that's like a good thing that I think our generation has, but there's like boundaries.
But you're
around
looking
it.
at yourself under your own microscope. And when you're in marriage, you don't look at yourself under your own microscope. Somebody else is telling you, like you might think you're funny as heck, and your spouse will be like, you're not that funny.
I feel like this sounds like a
no, it's not.
Okay.
I just picked funny as an
Yeah.
example. And so, he doesn't think I'm funny. Wait, maybe funny's not a good thing, but
Yeah, but I
he
get what you're
doesn't think
saying.
I'm XYZ.
Yeah.
And so therefore he doesn't value me in that space. I'm not staying.
Yeah.
So I think
Hmm.
it's a little bit of that as well. And you can
Yeah. What about
Yeah.
you,
You might
Mr.
have an
Miles?
interpretation
What
of
do you
that.
think? Why do you think 40 years is
So
more?
far-fetched these days.
Yeah.
I think it was doable then. I think it's doable now. I think even in our time, like, I don't know except my aunt Bernie, I don't know anybody even before us that stayed together that long.
Oh,
You know what I'm
really?
saying? Yeah. I
Oh,
mean,
it's still...
most like our parents and, stuff like that. And, so it wasn't even happening back then. It was kind of rough. It was kind of tough, so, for me, it's always been like a decision. I think in your mentally, you decide. Like for me, I felt like I decided. I felt like even before I got married, whoever I married, that's who I was going to be married to.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
It was like you knew once you got married, that was like...
Yeah, at least that's how I was thinking of
That's
it.
how you went
And
into it.
and I know, like, also like in my personal experiences, and with my parents divorcing, and I felt it was a little bit like I didn't want to have kids in different places. So because I felt like it was an imbalance at a certain point.
Yeah,
Mhm.
like not
You know
having
what I'm
both
saying?
parents in the house, or like having a family, like a family unit.
Yeah, and like like I just felt like my sister was, we and us was different. It was a difference, So I didn't want that to happen.
Yeah.
So I thought, and but I guess that's not really zeroing in on your question. So I feel like people can do it now. I agree with you that there's like a microwave type of thing now where I instantly, and I want what I want and I want it now. Whereas we are a little bit more willing to put stuff in the oven and let it bake. You know what I'm saying?
I like that analogy.
And let it cook. So I think I think people have to kind of take the time to realize, hey man, everything ain't supposed to be microwave. And as a matter of fact, when it is microwaved, you kill all the nutrients.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Bars.
Yeah, if you gotta use some of those.
That man's a poet.
Oh my gosh.
Wait, I want to backtrack for a second though. Like, how did you guys meet? That's where I wanted to start.
Oh yeah.
Oh.
Man.
specifically.
Yeah, how do you?
Nine. That's not her favorite story.
You gotta go to the
Is it her
archives.
favorite? You said it's
Not
not.
That's not her favorite story.
Oh, it's not. You can do a revised version for internet, or share what you want.
Well, we're both. First of all, we have a similar background, so we're both from England.
Mhm.
I came when I was like almost 17, and he came when he was younger, 4 or 5
Mhm.
years old. We both have any Black person from England in that era typically would have West Indian parents. So his parents were from Guyana. My parents are from Jamaica,
Mhm.
and we migrated to the States. We both lived in Brooklyn. He spent more time in Brooklyn, so he's more Brooklyn than anything. Like that's his time. Well, he
Like
can speak for
versus
himself,
England,
but-
you're saying?
Yeah,
Mhm,
versus
mhm.
England, and I'm a real Mod Podge. I'm a mix of England, Jamaica, Brooklyn, now Atlanta. I've been here so long,
Mhm.
and so we were literally in the streets of Brooklyn. I was walking the streets, out there, hanging out, just doing Brooklyn in the '80s.
Mhm.
And he was doing the same thing, hanging out. We met in the streets, literally. I was
Literally.
having an
Outside.
issue with an individual. It had me a little upset at the moment. Just a little,
upset.
He was
And
like, I like that. I like her face.
And
like
then
what
I
I see.
walked away, and then I said what I said, and then I walked away, and then he came to see if I was okay because I was so upset about this
situation.
thing, this situation.
Yeah.
And then he offered to walk me home, and then gave me his number, and then I found his number like probably a little while after that. I can't remember how long.
Like,
And
what,
then
10 hours?
That's so funny. I feel like there's always two different
probably
stories.
a couple of months,
Yeah.
and then called him, and then that's how we started.
Dang. What made you like even think to call? Is that what happened?
I just remembered being I remember the day very clearly, very upset.
Yeah.
And he was, whether he was genuine or not, remained to be seen.
Yeah.
But it seemed as if it remained to be seen, right? I don't know this dude. Oh, and that's how we met people back then. You write them out, do it.
Yeah.
Hey, let me get your number.
Yeah, proximity.
That's how you did. So, yeah.
Is that how you remember it?
Yeah,
he told us stash in the head.
No, it was close. He came close to telling an accurate portrayal of what happened. I did see her before in her little posse.
Oh, so
Yeah,
he was plotting.
I wasn't plotting.
He was waiting.
I've seen her on the app. On the avenue.
I've seen her in the app.
I see her on the avenue, but prior to that, before. So I think, and then so I just happened to be walking down the street one day, minding my business.
As one does.
As one does.
Minding my business.
Right. So I mean, and I heard an argument going on.
I heard you before seeing.
What's that going on over there? But it was a guy I knew actually. But I think what piqued my interest was I heard the British accent.
Oh, okay.
So I think there's something there because, I guess like when I was little, when you had a British accent, they would like make fun of you with cheerio and this and that. At this time, I didn't have a British accent; I was straight Brooklyn. But but there still was a thing, So when I heard the British accent, it's like, oh, okay, what's going on over here? This thing going on. I think I just kind of hung around and listened to the argument, because I knew the guy she was arguing with too.
And then you shot your shot.
I knew I saw her before. I didn't know her though. So I just okay, and then there's a little bit of cuteness to the, to the head wagging and whatever.
Were you
Hey,
responsive? Because obviously you were mad.
I was
and
upset.
it's not easy to like just go from being mad to being
like
happy.
cute and flirty.
I did not calm down right away.
Okay, so he was just nice to you, and then as you
up
walked
until
home.
walk home, I went home, and it was just.
And I was like, hey, you need help? You need someone to talk to?
Somebody to maybe talk to.
It sounded like he been noticing.
He been noticing.
A little bit. Oh, I know. Ooh, she looked cute.
And then she hit him with the accent.
Yeah, it was the accent. It was the accent.
That's part of it.
You can say it. It's okay.
No, I'm saying it was part.
I'm not gonna lie. Accents still go far to British accents.
It was part of it. It made her seem it made it different.
I got you.
Because the Brooklyn accent is different.
Right.
They're a little bit more.
Right.
What's the word? Aggressive.
Aggressive.
No, she had her aggressiveness too.
And he was like, I like that.
I like what I see.
I like what I see. I like that.
Nah, maybe I thought in my mind somewhere that I could tame the beast. I don't know.
You're so funny.
That is a thing, though.
Like a challenge or whatever.
Yeah, guys do that. So a woman do that as well.
Yeah,
too.
I think so too.
Yeah, they see a challenge and they're like, I want to try to,
Or it's like the chase or whatever.
Yeah,
like
it makes it more
elements.
interesting.
Yeah, I think so.
But I don't get that out of y'all too.
What, that there's a chase?
Yeah, they're so nice. Your parents are so nice. I'm saying on camera, these are the nicest parents
Wow.
ever.
Well, thank you.
They have
Quite the compliment.
such a great. I'm gonna just say it right now. Such a great family unit. Like the way y'all navigate. Granted, I'm still new to the family, but just the way that they navigate their relationship with 5 kids. Just every day, how much family and they preach and how much togetherness they have is just it needs to be televised. Like it really does. So I just wanted to say that before you continue your question.
Well, thanks. But you 2 years in, you got a good idea, right?
Yeah.
You're figuring it out as we go. I feel like things are good though.
Yeah.
I mean, I enjoy it.
Yeah.
I think. Actually, I have a question. This is off track. This isn't part of my notes.
Uh-oh.
But I feel like it just came to me out of the blue.
Mm-hmm.
So, as my parents,
Mm-hmm.
you guys obviously have raised me, seen me grow up, and like you've seen me in like, I want to say relationships before Jamal, but it was just one relationship.
Yeah.
And I think in another episode, how we were talking about like why people stay longer than they should in certain relationships and stuff. And like, it kind of came up in like my past relationship, like, cause I was in that relationship for 10 years and it was like, we were trying to figure out like, what it is that makes you stay. And I think, I just remember saying something about like, I remember saying like my parents saw it before I did. Like I remember very early on, you guys like making comments or saying stuff that alluded to you guys basically feeling like he wasn't the one for me and da da da. And I'm curious, like, what do you think as like what do you think are things as parents that you see that let you know? I'm trying to phrase this right because I'm just coming up with the question on top of my head.
That person is not the one.
Yeah.
You see it early.
How do you see it? But like what?
But people change, and there's a lot of things that you don't see. So you just hope that if this is the one and you're not seeing it, that the things that you're not seeing will change your mind. But you see it pretty early on. Like we knew very early on, just so you, that's
no,
I'm just
I
trying
know,
to tell you.
I know. She's like, I tried to tell you, girl.
We knew.
But is it because like inside the relationship people don't like? Is it because you were outside that you could see it?
I would say that you. I mean, I think. Well, first of all, we know you, so we know. I mean, we know our kids more than the person they're meeting knows them, and and also most parents don't see anybody that's good enough for their children,
Yeah.
So you have that.
Looking.
So yeah, so we kind
you're looking for
of
mistakes.
have a radar, up, and then also there's things like that we don't want for our children. There's things we do want, and there's things we don't want. So when we see signs that, we don't want that for our child, we see it.
Yeah.
So like, there were some things, and I think overall, he has some really good qualities, and that type of thing. And we grew closer to him. We were open to him and all that type of thing. So we weren't openly against the relationship or anything like that. But like there were times in your relationship where you would come out to things and you would be by yourself, and that was troubling. You know what I'm saying? So we,
like all the time.
Yeah.
Not like every once in a while.
I didn't want to, but yeah. Yeah. And I remember one time we were doing something. We were in the city and we went out and afterwards it was over. It was late at night, and you were walking back to your car, and your car was parked somewhere like blocks away. And so I remember walking you back to where your car was, or maybe even giving you a ride to it. And I was like, you were going to walk to this place, but by yourself. So it just didn't feel like, okay, that's not like with your relationship. And I don't want to compare, but I okay.
You can compare. You can compare.
Well, yeah. Well, I'll say this. I didn't want you to be in the type of relationship where you're at nighttime walking places by yourself on a regular basis, and like I didn't feel like you were
used to that. Yeah.
fully supported.
Yeah.
And that's not the kind of relationship I want for you. I want to know that if anything happens to me, or even if nothing happens to me, I want to know that you're okay. And I didn't fully feel that.
Yeah. No, I do feel like I remember, I think it was when we got engaged, I believe, that you did, like, you said that to me directly, that you were like, I feel like, you said like if anything were to happen, you feel safe, like leaving me like with him basically to like you feel that he would,
okay.
Yeah, that I would.
I don't know this name. No, I'm just kidding.
So funny. But it sounds like, so I guess it's good to like, you should consult people then, like in relation, like if you're in a relationship, it's because you've said this before too, like when you're inside a relationship, you don't have a bird's eye view.
It's hard to take a step back and see what's actually going on when you're in it.
Yeah.
Like if you're in it, it's hard to
tricky
like,
because you have to consult with people who have your best interests at heart.
Yeah.
And who know you and are not speaking from a bias or something else. I mean, remember, they don't know the whole person yet.
Yeah.
So one other indicator is, I remember when you guys were dating for a while and we were trying to figure out if you were becoming something that you're not. We're like, she's acting differently. And I don't want that because we want people to be themselves. We figured out later on that this is what Happy Chantel looks like. But because we hadn't seen Happy Chantel in a very long time, we thought she was being something that she wasn't.
You talking about us two?
I'm talking about y'all.
Oh gosh, I didn't know. I thought you were saying you guys.
Yeah.
I didn't know if you were still talking about.
Yeah, me either.
So Shan was acting different.
she was acting different, but we didn't recognize it as her being happy. We thought it was her acting different.
Mhm.
Does that
Like
make
a different
sense?
person.
Like and that's what you don't want to see, because that's also a red flag. We want you to be yourself in a relationship. Yeah, you can be a better version of yourself, or you could be, that person could have an impact and you become different or whatever, but you as a person should not change so dramatically because you're trying to live up to what this person wants. Yeah. So that was what we were trying to what I was trying to figure out for a while. I'm like, okay, is she putting on a performance? Is she acting the part? Is she trying to become what he wants? Like, what is it? And it never went away. And it became, this is what happy Chantel looks like. But she had not been happy in a very, very long time. And actually right before you was probably her darkest moment, like for a long time. Like people go through, and you're like invested 10 years. So you go through your breakup, you think, a couple of months. This was years of like depression. So it was a beautiful thing to realize that it was something that there was a happy Chantel. It's awesome.
That's very sweet.
Thank you. That is sweet.
Breaking news. I'm happy.
I was like, I was like, I don't be doing that.
That is funny. No, I remember even Linda, I think she might have said it to
Said
you.
that to me,
She was like that. Linda is my childhood friend. I've known her for, I think, over 20 years now. And she basically said, like, me, like, how I am with him is like, she feels like she has like her teenage friend back.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
really cool.
And I guess Vanessa saying that is coming off of, I mean, thank goodness that Chantel, when she was going through her, you know,
phases.
when she kicked, when she moved on to other things.
You can say it.
We'll cut it out if you can.
You know, she came home. You know what I'm saying? She left her place and came home to ours. So we kind of,
you got the rain cloud.
did a little bit of nursing, her back to, or got to see her evolve or go through that process of processing what happened and where she was, and that did I just waste 10 years of my life or whatever it was, you know what I'm saying? And go through those mental gymnastics. So and then when she's found a happy place, a la Jamal, then I mean, so it was I guess maybe Vanessa sort of performative, but yeah, she was finding her happiness again, and which is a beautiful thing.
That's crazy.
I didn't know that. I didn't know that, Shane.
Me either, bro.
Well, I did know a little bit, but I didn't know that.
You know all of it?
Yeah, it's like a Disney movie.
What?
A little bit.
I don't do nothing. This is for real. I don't do nothing. I just be like, Shan, you do whatever.
So
I'm trying to make sure Shan is as happy as possible. I do my best to try to make sure she's happy. I know there's sometimes I'm all over the place, and that is one of my downfalls.
No,
but
I don't know if that's a downfall, man. I think it definitely works for y'all because not that Chantel's all over the place, but she's can be pretty, she can be something herself, and I think about this, like I had these, I remember my cousin was getting married, and he talked to me about, this girl he's getting married to, and I didn't think she was the girl for him.
Okay.
But he wanted me to be the best man for his wedding.
Okay.
I was like, Dad, bro, I'm just telling him, like, I know you, man. I've known you all your life. I know the kind of women you like. Why all of a sudden, you know what I'm saying? This doesn't seem like the type of woman for you based on our history of me knowing you. But he wanted me to be the best man, so I try to talk him out of it. And then she called me.
Oh.
Yeah, his fiance at the time called me. So
people do that, by the way.
What?
Okay.
They call him.
Yeah.
Like grown people that have been together for a long time. People that we would have gone to had they not come to him
so
first. Like,
funny.
Just people call him.
That is good advice. He
And a
be
lot of
sounding
times
smart.
it's like it could be like his best friend or one of his good friends is the male.
You
but
blocking
the
my
wife,
camera.
I'm sorry. But the wife calls.
The wife will call dad.
Yeah.
That's so funny.
Isn't that something?
It's because he has good advice?
I don't know if it's because I have good advice, because they didn't like my advice.
Okay.
I think it's because it's honest. You're going to get what you ask.
Okay.
I tell people, don't ask me if you don't want to know the truth.
I have
I
heard you
got
say
you.
that phrase.
I tell people,
Word for
so people,
word.
I try to tell y'all, don't ask me. And I'd be like, you sure?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? 'Cause
Yeah,
I'm gonna
yeah,
tell
yeah.
you your part.
Yeah.
I'm not. I know you want to talk to me about the other person. I'm gonna tell you about you. If you have, you know what I'm saying? If you
If you
ask me.
asking me, yeah.
So, and she came to me and I told her that she should marry him, You know, I don't think they should be compatible.
That's
I told her
bold.
why. You know, and I thought I gave a very convincing argument to both of them for different reasons, for their different perspectives.
And then they never spoke to you again.
They did. They still had me as best man. I
Oh, you were still in the
stood as
wedding.
best man and then their wedding. I think they were married 3 months
Oh my goodness.
or something like that. You know what I'm saying? So but when they started having rocky times after they got married, I was the one that I was talking to both of them, trying to keep them together.
Yeah.
I was fighting tooth and nail to keep them together.
Yeah.
Cause y'all done married now. Y'all done, you know, I done told y'all before.
Yeah.
But y'all made a decision, so yeah, it's all right. You know, let's and I fought tooth and nail, and but they still got divorced. You know, but then you know, so
I'm curious if like, because sometimes I say people, it wasn't, well, no, because you saw it before they got married. I was about to say, maybe because people say like people change after like marriage, like you get married and then people change, but you already were seeing signs before that.
Mm-hmm.
People don't change after they
Why do
get
people
married.
say that though?
You think marriage changes people? You're saying
I
people
guess so.
change,
In
like we've
life.
changed dramatically in the time that we've been together, but people don't change because they marry. If anything, whatever the issue is becomes more pronounced.
Yeah, because maybe they're more comfortable now. Is what I'm thinking. Maybe.
Yeah. I think people do evolve and change, but I think your basic character traits.
Mm-hmm.
Your character is pretty much your character.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? I mean, you can make adjustments and make improvement if you on purpose do that. You know, I remember somebody saying something about like, you know, when you're in a marriage, it's like a towel. It's like somebody. If a wet towel and you're taking it, you're twisting it, and you're wringing it out, and stuff. You know what I'm saying? Stuff is coming out.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So stuff is gonna come out, and you know, but that could be good, depending on how you know, your perception of it, how you accept it. You know, you can get the junk out and become a better person, or you can feel like, hey, so why are you squeezing me too much?
I really like these analogies. I'm not gonna lie to you. I see why people go to you for advice. I see what's happening here. I have a question though. So, do you feel like, or what do you think is the hardest thing about staying together for so long? Because, like, I feel like in my previous 10-year relationship, the only glimpse of something I got is that, like, I understand people change in time, and it's just like, I guess, is it just a matter of like growing together versus growing apart, or is it like when you hit like when you've been together for as long as you guys have, is it something more than that, deeper than that, different than that? Like,
I mean, I think that's the bottom line of it. I think that the longer you are together, we got together very young. And so by the time we've been together for all this time, we've done changed, morphed like 3 or 4 times because of our experiences and what we've been through and our own worldview and our own self, you know, awareness and things like that. So you're going to change. He's not the man that I married in 1993, you know. But it's like, are those differences are they so far apart that you can't find common ground, or are they issues that that are non-negotiables for you? So a person may change and they may, okay, he's a vegan now, and I eat meat all day long, right? So I could care less what you eat. You know what I mean?
Because I'm still eat my chicken wings.
I'll eat my chicken. Maybe there's something we can learn from each other. Like I can learn from you if that's a healthier lifestyle, you're doing it for the right reasons. And maybe, and actually that's a good example of one thing that we like. He's pretty much vegan, pescatarian, he'll eat fish, very clean eating. And I'm not so much, but you know, we go out to a restaurant, let's go and find a restaurant where you can eat, because I eat anything.
Yeah.
You know, so that's a compromise where somebody might say, I'm not eating no vegan. I don't want to eat. I want to eat meat. You're trying to change who I am.
Yeah.
And,
so like if he were to force it upon you. Yeah,
like if this is something that he felt so strongly about that I couldn't be my individual self and make my own choice, and maybe that's it. Or maybe somebody just doesn't, or maybe it's the other way around. And if a person is vegan and they're like, I cannot be with somebody that eats meat. I just cannot. Like I need a clean eating person. That might be a non-negotiable for them. So I think it's what you make of the issue and picking your battles. Like, is this so important that it can break us apart? I think our biggest, and you can speak to it, there's one more point. One of our biggest points of conflict with the kids, and we had so many. So we had 5 kids, 5 different personalities, and then we wanted to raise them differently. And so I always use I always say he would sacrifice the relationship of the rules, and I would sacrifice sacrifice the rules for the relationship. And it was always a conflict with us, like, oh, don't treat her like that. Oh, don't talk to her. And we had girls too. So it was like, oh, can we be a little bit more, And he's like, the rules though, the rules. And there's got to be consequences. If we don't have consequences, we'll never learn. And I was like, and we both make sense. So it's finding that common ground.
And how do you, is it just through like?
Sometimes you don't. Sometimes one person is just upset because it didn't go their way, because somebody has to make a decision and something has to be done. So sometimes I would be lying to say, oh yeah, we always compromised and worked it out. No, sometimes I was feeling very upset about things that I felt very strongly about. That's very hard to do.
Yeah.
You can add on to that. No,
I don't remember exactly what the question was. Do you remember? Shade some about change. Why we?
The initial question was basically about change, like in 30 years. Not necessarily about change, but what is it about?
Is it that you grow apart, or
like what happened? Like what happens in that 30 years that makes it harder, I guess, if anything, to hold on to the relationship, keep the relationship going.
Yeah, as circumstances change, like I think in most relationships, one of the hardest things is money. And money challenges and that type of thing, especially, and the different ways people handle money. So like if she's more of a spender, and I'm like, why are you spending all the money? You know what I'm saying? So that causes conflict. So we have different, so I eat a little bit, I don't know if you want to call it clean, but I stopped eating meat years ago, and she eats meat. Like I would never wear like certain brands on my clothes, and advertise unless they pay me. You know what I'm saying? Like, and she would. So we have things that we are very, very different about. And, sometimes I voice it and that might annoy her. You know what I'm saying? Like, oh, you eating meat? I'll talk about the chicken. Oh, that juicy part,
while I'm eating.
Yeah. So, that's if you get a burn on your hand and you saw how it comes to a boil and that boils all that juice in there, well, that's what the chicken is when it gets hot.
Oh my God.
She's eating her meal.
She's just like,
or I'm eating and I'll say something. I look up and he's got this look. I'm like,
from across the room.
Yeah. So I have my little passive aggressive judgments. So
and what do you just ignore him?
No, I say something.
Yeah.
Stop looking at me.
No, I say something. I'm like, why are you looking at me when I'm eating my chicken?
So, but to each their own. And like you said, you pick your battles and you learn about. There's certain things that are non-negotiable though, like if. Like I couldn't be with a smoker, for example.
Yeah.
But smoking gives me a headache, like somebody else's smoke.
Yeah.
So I don't want you to make me sick. You know what I'm saying? And that type of thing. So that probably wouldn't work. But one of the major things was like Vanessa said was the kids, and I think it's not so much, so she I think felt like she was protecting the kids from me at some point, or whatever. And which I didn't never feel like they were never in danger of me. I felt like I felt like some of the things that she was doing, I felt like would be bad for them in the long run. So I'm trying to do things to kind of teach them, what they say, that biblical saying, you teach when they're young, and teach them where to go when they're young, when they won't depart from it, or something like that. But so we had different things we were doing, but we both wanted the same thing. And in fact, when we went through some things and talked to a friend of ours, Dr. Hill, who's a counselor, she talked about, the different styles, because the end goal, we want y'all to be successful. We want y'all to live well. So it's like a push and pull. So I'm like, push them to do what they need to do and push them there where they want to go to. And she's like, well, pull them along. And I'm like, to me, if you're pulling them along, they're not learning how to, you know what I'm saying? They're going to always need you to, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, or the other way to say it is, I don't want them to fail. And he's like, what's wrong with failing? We're not going to make them suffer or lose. Like, it's not going to be too detrimental. We're going to save them if we need to save them. But there's nothing wrong with suffering. I'm like, no, they shouldn't suffer when we're here. Not on my watch. Why you have to suffer? I don't understand.
Right. But there is a safety net. I'm like, there's a safety net. We can't, if they learn how to ride a bike, you can't hold the bike handles and push, you know what I'm saying? And push them, and pull them along or whatever. You can't pull, okay, come on.
You have to let them.
Yeah, you gotta let go.
And,
you fall, and you catch them when they fall, you know what I'm saying? But they gotta ride.
Yeah.
And I'm like, let them ride. You know what I'm saying?
That is hard though.
Yeah,
And
it's
also
hard.
too, like this is what this other thing that you guys do that we didn't do as much is the counseling part of it, so you can
Mhm.
figure out this stuff, because a lot of it comes from how you were parented and how you were raised. And you weren't raised, I wasn't raised with my dad, and I didn't meet him until I was 16. I didn't have that. I didn't see what a father was supposed to do, and there was protections and those guidelines, and it was
Mhm.
always my mother just fighting for her kids. And now I come into a relationship doing the same thing when I don't have to,
Mhm.
right? Because I have the father is there to be a father, and
Mhm.
me understanding because I didn't have it, I didn't understand what he was supposed to do, and it felt very threatening. Like, oh my God, what are you doing to them?
Mhm.
When it was really, he's fathering. He's like the
Yeah.
epitome of a father. Like that's what they do.
Mhm.
So
Yeah.
it's I bring that up because that was in the years and all phases. Like kids are going through different phases. That was probably our biggest contentions.
Mhm.
Yeah, that is
Yeah.
one of our major contentions, and it's
It's
still
like
a
how to
contention.
raise kids.
Yeah,
I mean,
still,
we just had a issue yesterday. You know what I'm saying? So with
She said, "You had an
That's
issue."
how quick.
no, there was definitely an issue.
That's how quick you forget.
I'm still kind of mad actually, but I just,
He's
you know
like,
what I'm saying? I'm
"That's either here or
trying to help y'all, some other people out. So I'm on.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, that's
Because I feel like sometimes people try to have kids to like save a relationship, and I feel like I don't feel like that's ever a good thing. Like I just feel like having kids is a hard thing. And I feel like there's nothing to like really prepare you for it. Like even if you guys like say you were to have these conversations of like how you wanted to raise your kids, like nothing really prepares you for it until you're in it.
Because you don't have the dynamic of the kid. Like the kid has its own personality, its own thing going on. Like my grandson is a perfect example of that.
Oh yeah.
Like he is constant.
That boy Kyson.
Yeah,
Shout out to Kai.
Shout out to Kai.
What up?
But he's a boy. He's very rambunctious. He's going all the time, and his mother is not that way.
Yeah.
And so she couldn't have prepared for that.
Yeah.
Like you could prepare to have a kid that like, goes to sleep when he's supposed to go to sleep, and eats when he's supposed
Can
to.
definitely prepare for a kid that does
my
everything
kind of kid.
I say.
We all have that in mind. Like, my kid's gonna I'm gonna do the right things, and everything's gonna fall into place. And you don't take into consideration that child might
have his own little plan.
Personality, its own way of doing things, and you have to adjust once it gets here. So kids definitely don't make things.
It doesn't.
You could have a kid that just happens to make things better.
Yeah.
Because it just happens to be an
I
easy
mean,
kid to raise.
the kid could be a distraction to the drama that y'all having. Maybe you know what I'm saying. But I think what you're saying though, I think being on the same page, being on the same accord, I think could be very helpful. You know what I'm saying? Than just going into it not knowing the different styles of raising a child, you know what I'm saying, and being in a disagreement about that, and that just not helping the relationship, but that's another challenge. You know what I'm saying?
There's a whole thing about gentle parenting now. That's you know, mom already is not into that by her face.
I'm not into gentle parenting.
I'm trying, but it don't work.
Hey, listen, parenting is not for chumps. You know what I'm saying? It's not for wimps.
Yeah,
parenting is tough stuff. You know,
No, I know.
because our grandchild, like she's talking about, Tyson's is a handful.
Yeah.
And if you don't check them and you want him to be free will still, so you don't want to break his will, but at the same time, if he's not listening to his mom or his whoever, and he's just running out in the street, that's his life at risk. You know what I'm saying? So
You got to listen.
yeah, so you gotta get him to listen. So I don't know who's talking about the gentle whatever, but sometimes you gotta grab them. Like,
Gentle whatever. You gotta grab them really aggressively.
You gotta yoke 'em
I'm
up
not saying
real
do the
quick.
shaking baby that like that, but like if he run in the street, you're like, hey, hold on, bro. We just talked about this. Don't run in the street. You gotta look both ways. And now he still goes to the street, but he gonna stop and look both ways.
Yeah.
And because that if you don't, somebody go, hey, hold on, somebody gonna pull him up there, and there's all kinds of stuff. I mean, I know one of the other things though. I think being with it, biblically they be called unequally yoked.
Oh yeah.
You know what I'm saying, and stuff like that. So, and you can be that in a lot of different ways.
A lot of different ways.
So like in our relationship, there's been changes, and like I've seen some things. So I wasn't so much into organized religion. We went together. We weren't into we from Brooklyn. We had our street code. You know what I'm saying, and then we kind of got on the born again code for a long time. And
that religious.
Yeah. We found religion, and then I was like, whoa, hold on. As the information age came, I was like, some of this stuff in this church is kind of suspect. You know what I'm saying? Well, I'm not fully buying in, but by that time we was she was fully bought in, and I'm like, hey, but look at this though. I mean, yeah, this is not true, but oh, look at this.
Mhm.
And she wasn't really feeling that. You know what I'm
Mhm,
saying? Like,
mhm.
because they teach you to like just look straight ahead and don't everything else, ignore everything else. I'm like, no, this is some things we shouldn't ignore.
He's like, no, I just saw something in my peripheral.
Right.
I definitely saw.
I saw a body go back there.
Exactly.
He was being baptized.
Yeah.
And that caused a lot of contention.
So then what do you do because when you're together for years, there's going to be a lot of moments like that, I can only assume. Like, how do you, is it just, have you guys mastered communication? Is that what it comes down to?
Yeah, I think it's an ongoing thing. You know what I'm saying? It's like being an actor. Like, have you mastered acting? There's always something more to learn. Because in fact, when we did a class called Married for Life,
Mhm.
and this was after we had married over 10 years. You know what I'm saying? So I'm like, well, we don't know the Married for Life class, but there were so many things that we learned. Like, wow, okay, you know, it's like it's like you learn things you never knew. You know, that's a song or something though. Yeah,
I never knew. That's
learn things you never knew. You never knew.
Oh,
Yeah,
and you
yeah.
pay with all the colors. Wait, that's Disney.
Yeah.
Probably from me watching Pocahontas
Yeah,
30
I
million
don't
times.
know that one.
I used to work for Disney.
Yeah. A lot of Disney. But
Oh, hold on, y'all got a deal with Disney? Did they give y'all? No, okay.
Oh, okay.
Take that part
Cut
off.
that out. Cancel.
Y'all are funny. Y'all are funny.
Shut it down.
I do have a question.
Yeah.
Obviously, y'all were together for how long before you had Chantel? Chantel's the oldest.
6 years.
6 years?
Yes, I'm the oldest of the 5 kids.
So you have 6
Goated.
years of relationship prior to kids. First question, did you guys plan on having 5 kids?
Nope.
And then the second question is, how would you say the dynamic of having 5 children has changed your relationship?
Yeah, what was it like then versus
Ooh.
first?
Yeah, I wanted 4 kids.
Mm-hmm.
You know, like as a kid, I used to think I wanted 4 kids. I wanted 2 boys, 2 girls. I think having kids, you know, I felt like it definitely changed us, changed the relationship, changed me because I was more fun loving, you know, and it's like once you have these kids, you have responsibility. You know, I was, you know, I'm just saying.
We used to have fun.
No. I mean, I love my kids. It's like I
say, look what these kids did.
Listen, no, I felt like it made me a cop. You know what I'm saying? It's like, and like, you know, and then you saying, you know, you kind of repeating things, them having to always have to, you know what I'm saying? I didn't want to be that. If I felt like I had to, I had no choice.
Yeah.
So that, you know, they ain't
responsible
running
for
around
somebody else.
acting crazy, you know, and then especially with Vanessa being the more passive in terms of like you know,
strictness and stuff.
yeah,
Or
in
like
terms of
rules.
behavioral things and stuff like that. So I'm dealing with all that. So
That's
I feel
why
like
you
you-
play a lot of the detective roles.
Right there.
That's where it all stemmed from.
I don't know. Maybe that's probably has a lot to do with it because I do play a lot of cops. But even before I had kids, people said I was militant. So I don't know. I guess I had this kind of you know stoic thing or something like that. But I still was. I felt like I was more fun.
Yeah.
And
then
having the kids
came.
again, it just made me have to be more like, hey, don't do that, do this. Hey, put your seatbelts on. So I'm like the one.
And it's like constant.
Constant. So we have to get in the car every day, and
Even
people
now.
ain't putting their seatbelts on. You know, and like and then even Vanessa ain't put her seatbelt on either.
You're a cop and you're watching this.
He out here fighting for everybody's life.
Right. You know, I'm
Nobody
like,
wants to save themselves.
But I'll say this: it became constant all the time, and so where the conflict is that you gotta add the tenderness from a father's perspective because they, especially as girls, they need the tender part of that because then they're gonna go when they go to their spouse. Now they're gonna forego the militant side, I guess. The detective side, and they're going to fall more towards the tender side. If somebody is more affectionate and gives them more attention, that becomes the primary. But that's very dangerous for a woman because men can do that for 6 months and you think that you're all in, right? So that was part of the thing is that trying to find that balance, like not to say that what he was doing was wrong or shouldn't be, and not wasn't allowed to be I wouldn't allow him to be a father, but it bothered me that we didn't get enough of both of them. So it just seems like this is all you do. You're here to like set the rules all day long. Oh, they put that back. Don't put that there. Put the top back, like constant. And there's 5 kids, so you're constantly. That's what you're doing.
So
it's exhausting.
So prior to the relationship, though,
and then I'm overcompensating. Was my point. Yeah. So I'm overcompensating. So he's doing all of this, and I'm trying to soften things. Yeah.
But I guess prior to the kids, was he?
What
like
was
that?
his dynamic? What was the dynamic?
I think it was more fun before.
Okay.
Yeah, definitely. Like, I mean, a lot of our relationship is based in fun. We spent a lot of time with each other, doing fun things and hanging out with each other, and just
because you guys were in the music industry.
We're in the music industry.
This is a world-renowned reggae artist went on tour across the nation. And my dad you were like a producer and stuff, right, Dad?
Yeah, in reggae. So we had the same interests with music, and we were in the same circles, and we had those common interests. I think common interests helps relationships as well, because you still like the same foundational things. We like the same music. We like the same. Not that you have to, because you can introduce each other to different things, and you can learn to love it. But I do think for us, it gave us that connect. It helped us stay connected and helped us stay friends. That word's going to come up. Yeah.
Well, then how do you feel like you should? Because obviously he says he feels like he's more of a cop and stuff like that when the kids came. But about you, did you feel like you changed at all in any way?
I feel like I immediately wanted to overcompensate for what I didn't get. Okay. And so my dad was gone my whole life, but he would send us things when we were in England. He was in the States, and he would send us barrels of clothes and send my mom money and just send stuff. And so my father's love was things. And so that's what I equated, that when I have kids, I give them things, and that's what's going to make them happy and make them feel loved. And I think that's what it just got worse over time as they got older. He was always giving them things. And it wasn't like we always had a lot of money to give them things, but it was always, oh, are you okay there? Do they need this? Do you need that? I'm always looking for their needs and making sure that their needs were met as far as on a material level, and also time, like making sure that they felt like I was attentive and I'm there and I'm present and I'm this, because I didn't have that. So I felt like I didn't know, you don't know what kind of parent you're going to be until the child comes. Chantel was easy, right? Because we had her by herself for 6 years before we had the other kids. So she was easy, and had a lot of family support. My mom helped me, and my family helped me with her while I traveled. At that time, I was in the music industry, so I traveled a bit. And so it was a little bit more free-spirited and airy and not so serious. And I had the help, so it didn't feel like a burden. She was a good kid, so I didn't have all the stress of the child didn't create stress. It's when I had all the other kids, then it became all-consuming. And it was just my life. Like people will always tell me, even to this day, they say, "Oh, you need to find a hobby." My kids are my whole life. Like my family, that's it. Like that's my whole being. When I'm thinking of things, I'm thinking of the whole.
The whole family and stuff.
Which is interesting though, because I think that was a little bit of our conflict too. We had conflict with that though, because even with that, like again, we were in the music business, so we're not just traveling the nation, we were traveling the world. We were all over the place, and I ride motorcycles. I was doing things and living. So even having kids for me is like, okay, kids are a priority, but I have a life too. You know what I'm saying? Whereas she was like, everything needs to be the kids. You know what I'm saying? That shit needs to be your everything, because that's how she felt. And as much as I love my kids, I felt like I still have my life too, and I still want to live my life, and I still want to enjoy my life too. So actually, in some ways, it helped me realize, okay, listen, and I had some controlling people in my life, all that kind of stuff, and so maybe I had some of those traits of being controlling, which is not a good trait, and but I like, okay, you know what? Let me just control myself. You know what I'm saying? Learn how to control my own self, control my own anger issues, control my own whatever issues that I had. But at the same time, I'm gonna love them. I'm gonna give them what I have to give them, and give them, be a blessing to the kids. But I'm also gonna live my life. I'm also gonna do. That's how I'm an actor now. But if it was just like, okay, I'm just gonna do for my kids. When my business went belly up, I would have went and did something, go get a job somewhere, put my head down, work, so that y'all could be all right. Because being an actor was a risk. So I guess maybe it could be looked at as selfish on some level.
Mm-hmm.
because listen, I want to do something that I'm going to enjoy and I want to have a happy life too.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and we had some conflict there
Mm-hmm.
that we
Yeah.
were, but you know, we
It's
were
tough.
able
I
to
can
overcome.
understand.
So did you feel like, I guess, in a sense, like the kids caused you to look at Mrs. Vanessa different in any way? And it could be positive different or negative different, but
Both.
mm-hmm.
Both, because you know, her selflessness when it came to those kids, you know what I'm saying,
Mhm.
you know, was unmatched. I mean, she would sacrifice and give up anything for the kids.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? So like, whereas like we went through this thing where they called the Great Recession.
Mhm.
You know, prior to that, you know, things were gangbusters. I was making money hand over fist. You know, we were
Mhm.
doing that. She was working with me, doing my administrative work, and things were great. We were building a multi-million-dollar home in Buckhead. You know, all this great stuff was happening. Things went crashing down. Things got really, really tough, really fast.
Mm-hmm.
And you know, like for me, like okay, so the kids they had like they were just like in middle school, and they had like cell phones and all that kind of stuff. Them times cell phones was like $300 a month. You know what I'm saying?
Mhm.
I'm like, yo, them kids don't need no cell phones. You know what I'm saying? She's like, no, they gotta be. All their friends have cell. They gotta be able to communicate. They go to school and they take the bus back. But they, you know what I'm saying? Like, yo, listen, that you know, you put the.
Her face, she's like, they still gotta get their phones.
So you know, so she had this selflessness when
Yes.
it came, especially to the kids. You know,
Yeah.
so
Yeah.
you know, so I thought that alone was good and bad. You know what I'm saying? There's like there's a hand to it, there's a backhand to it. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
To those things, and but you know, we survived, and the kids
Yeah.
is okay, and you know,
No, I mean, I always praise you guys and say you guys have been the most amazing parents. And then Jamal says the same thing. Like anytime he has a chance to like talk about you guys as a unit and just like our family,
Mm-hmm.
it's like just the highest praise. So
oh, well,
did
thank you.
y'all think? Of course in I think there's a point in like high school where girls specifically always just hate their parents and hate everybody. So after we got past that phase, it's like our parents are really, really awesome. They're actually amazing.
Not so bad.
Me and Jamal, so we met on a dating app, as you guys know. I'm curious, do you guys think if like dating apps were around when you guys were dating, would you have matched? Or what would be in your bio? What would like your dating
I know
profile
nothing
be?
about dating apps. So what does that even look like?
So like your dating app, it's like, okay, so I'm Vanessa, I'm 18 years old or 20 years old, whatever, and I'm single and I want to date. So you pull up this app and it's like, oh, Vanessa, first, Vanessa, upload a picture of yourself. What kind of picture are you uploading? Are you like smiling? Are you like lavishly living your best life? Are you like this? Oh,
that.
you're just like serving. She's serving. Okay, so profile picture is serving.
Okay.
Then it's like about yourself. What do you like to do?
I like to go out and party and have Thursday, Friday, and Saturday night.
Thursday, Friday, and Saturday night. Okay, and then what?
Travel.
And travel. Okay.
That was Chance.
And the same picture too. I think I was serving.
She was the same.
I was not partying Thursday, Friday, Saturday night.
You didn't say that. That's you're right.
But my
Your
pictures
pictures
show.
look like you were partying Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. On the Lord's Day.
Definitely traveling too.
Yes.
Oh my
And
gosh.
then does it ask you like what kind of person you're looking for?
Just
or
your
just-
hobbies, like what
So
are
your
your
hobbies,
hobbies?
yeah, and then-
where you live.
Yeah. Okay. So that's
Currently.
basically the premise.
Yeah.
Of what
And what you look for, what you're looking for in a person.
Yeah.
It might let you. So what are you looking for in a person at age 20?
Same
Do they have a
thing.
height requirement?
Yeah.
Oh, very specific.
You can be
Yeah.
very specific. If you pay premium, you can get real
You
specific.
say it like we have our own app. Dating app.
But that's the baseline. Okay. So and then dad, what's your profile saying? What picture are you using? Are you like shirtless in the gym? Are you a gym guy? Are you like flexing? You have money up? You have money on the phone?
Are you
No.
DJ?
No. First of all, you know, when I met her, I was in high school,
Mm-hmm.
so I don't think I would have been using an app. But if I was using an app, it'd probably be a lot of lies.
Oh God.
You know, I'll just be trying to get some. You know what I'm saying? So I just be.
He's like, if we're being honest.
I just be doing what I can to whatever's the work to get some from the finest chicks. That's what I'll be trying to do.
So would you have matched with his lies on his
Probably.
profile? She would have just seen his picture.
So y'all are meant for each other. Okay.
Yeah, 100%.
Oh, man.
Okay, we're about to wrap up, but I had some rapid fire.
I do got another question.
Okay.
It's actually pretty funny.
Go ahead.
I think it's funny.
Go ahead.
So y'all been together for almost 40 years.
For decades.
Almost 40.
You said
Right?
4 years.
40.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
Sorry, I
almost
didn't hear.
40
Sorry.
years.
Sorry.
Is there any like quirky things that when the other person did, or you just was kind of like Shan, she doesn't fart around me.
Mm-hmm.
Right. She never claims that she's ever farted ever.
And I don't
wasn't
poop.
you. Two of you in the video.
Yeah.
It wasn't me, so
Was
it's
there
gotta
any-
be you.
In the past 40 years, is there anything, or almost 40, that y'all still do around each other that you just was like, what? Like, what did they? You know,
Yeah, like
what I
a
mean?
quirky thing, or
It could
like
be
a.
anything quirky, or y'all just. I mean, it's almost 40 years.
Yes,
Yeah,
you know
we
everything.
just-
There's everything. There's
Yeah.
nothing left unknown.
I don't think
Or-
he's asking if it's unknown though.
That's
Is that
not what he's
like?
saying.
Do it? Or like,
Listen, there was a
Yeah.
thing that Vanessa did from the first time I met her. Like they used to be, they still have them wine coolers,
Yeah.
and like she would like drink it like
You are making
one.
me
Sorry,
She was drinking like water.
she would drink it in like with one sitting, like the bottle and like down either half of the whole
So she
bottle.
was chugging wine.
Yeah.
Just a quirky thing.
talent.
Talent.
So just the other
Oh
day,
my God.
Kyson was amazed. It was a bottle of water, but like he's like, but you didn't even breathe, man. You know what I'm saying? So she's still doing that.
So she still does
That's
that.
that's the quirky thing that I guess is like a little bit
Oh my
weird that she does. She's
God.
able to drink
You're
without
just
breathing.
like, if you have any quirks about him, that maybe in the
There's
beginning you were
too
like,
many
oh,
You
to
got
list.
enough time, but
We just need- we just
it's
need-
not
not
enough.
enough
Time's
time.
up.
just
Tell
one
ya.
or two. Just one or two is fine.
Tell the truth, he has a lot of quirks. But he has a lot. Like he has
Just now she couldn't think of nothing.
wait, his whole day is quirks. Like little things that he does. Then I'm like, oh my God. Why you do that?
So
I'm
weird.
doing that. Like, oh. Okay.
Is there one he's been doing from the beginning though?
Probably don't even notice it anymore.
That it may not bother you anymore, but he was doing in the beginning. Like he said, you just like wine cool, boom, throw down, and that's it.
You're right. I can't think of like a quirk. I just think of it as just him now.
Okay.
Yeah,
It
yeah,
doesn't
yeah.
stand out
As a
to me.
quirk.
Yeah.
It's just
It's
his
part of
way.
his-
It's just his way. And that's
Alright.
part of marriage too. Is like we all have our quirks and we all have
Yeah.
our things. And it is accepting those things
Yeah.
and picking your battles.
Yeah.
And not everything. Like sometimes I realize like if we're going through a rough time, because there's been times we go through rough times in the relationship where we're just bumping heads.
Mhm.
Those quirks become a very big deal.
Mm.
All of a sudden, that little thing that he'd been doing
Mhm.
on this day,
It's
it's the
the
worst
worst.
thing,
Mhm.
you know. And they just wake up, and you're like, oh, he's up. Like it's like every little thing that he does bothers you
Yeah.
in that moment,
Yeah.
and so you can't stay there, right?
Yeah.
And it is just a passing thing,
Mm.
but it's just knowing that that it's because of the state of mind that you're in
Mhm.
that's making it seem like a bigger deal than it actually
I
is.
got
So there was something. What happened the other day? Then you end up chasing me downstairs.
Oh, God.
Wait, chasing downstairs? What happened?
I couldn't take it
Tell me
anymore.
right now.
I have to tell you the story. So he thinks the house is watching him, right? I'm gonna tell you how I want to say it. He thinks the house is watching him, but he bought.
I'm a little bit paranoid, and you're blocking my
We
camera.
bought a smart home. First of all, that was your number one mistake. You bought a smart home. So the smart home has Alexa all through it. You know, you can.
I got cameras all
You
outside
can
the
tell
house
it to
because I
do
wanted to
stuff.
see what's
Cameras
going
out
on.
the house. You know, smart lock. It's got all the things, right? So he goes and buys a smart home, but he don't want nobody hearing his stuff. So I'll get up sometimes and I'm like, Alexa's
Yeah.
not hearing me. You know why Alexa ain't hearing me? Because he turned it off. Or I'm like, what is this on Alexa? The he done taped Alexa. I put a piece of tape over.
He shut Alexa up.
He
But you're
shut
paying for
Alexa up.
Alexa service.
I'm
I just cover the camera.
I'm like, oh, Miles, the remote doesn't work on the TV.
Like,
I'm like,
covered the
you
signal.
probably need to charge it. He done plugged the TV out
Oh.
because didn't tell me, so I'm thinking it's something. Then the other day, I was pressing the remote, and I'm like, he plugged the TV. I didn't know the TV wasn't plugged out. I'm like, why isn't the TV working? So this is the thing. I'm in the room complaining. He's not picking up on any of it. He didn't chime in and say, oh, I did X, Y, Z. He just let me complain for like 30 whole minutes. And I'm like, babe, let me know how to charge the remote. He said, oh, that's not the remote. I'm like, why is it not the remote? He said, oh, I switched it out. I'm like, I'm sick of this. I can't take this anymore. I get up. I have a job. I get up. I need my alarm. It's on my phone. I'm like, oh, the alarm didn't go off. Where's my phone? It's not in the room. Why isn't the phone in the room? Because he doesn't want the flipping
Alarm.
There's a-
phones in the. Well, he doesn't want two things. He
Oh.
doesn't want the phone, radiation, whatever it is, in the room,
Oh.
and he also doesn't. And he also doesn't want the alarm because it's disturbing. Like, I have to wake up for work. I don't understand.
That's so
He's like, you
And
gotta
then
figure
so
that
when
out for yourself, lady.
So then he turned.
all the quirks are coming out all at once.
She couldn't find nothing.
At
I've got
first,
10 more.
It's all happening in like
just
one
constant.
sentence.
It's just constant,
Oh my
or he'll
God.
say like, like I need the TV on to go to sleep. I need sound or whatever. But then I fall asleep, and then it's left him. He says the commercials come on louder in the middle of the night, so it's like I'm sleeping and the commercials are blasting, and so he turns it off.
Mhm.
So then the other day I was like, okay, when I can't sleep, I'm gonna go upstairs. So I go upstairs, and then he's like, oh, what are you doing up here? Why are you up here? Because I can't sleep in the room because it's disturbing you.
He's like,
So,
I can't
yeah.
remember that.
Nah, I don't know what she's talking about. And that had nothing to do with why you chased me. So
oh my
I'm gonna tell you, I remember now. I couldn't remember why. I just remember her chasing me around. But what happened in the room was she was watching TV, and the screen. She was like, "Man, it's so dark," or something like that.
On the TV?
Yeah.
Oh my god.
So,
It's so dark.
What did he
I was like, I hate when they film shows like this, and it's so dark.
And you can't
that
see.
you can't even see the people. He said that might have some. Wait. What did you do? That might have something to do with me turning down the.
Brightness.
He said the brightness to dark.
They put it on some kind of mode. I'm sorry, I'm having a flash too.
That's so funny.
All at the
No, I
same
got
time.
it.
I'm hot.
Yeah.
It's hot. Yeah, it's very hot.
So
it got
it
hot.
might have something to do with me having turned down like the setting on the TV that makes everything dark because it's too. The brightness is like stopping me from sleeping or whatever it is. I'm like, oh my god, I can't have nothing. I'm tired of this.
Yes, but to my defense, the way she does things, I didn't want to bring all this stuff up like she did.
Since we
But
talking about it.
since we talking about it, like all this stuff has a method to the madness. So again, if she's watching TV at night and she goes to sleep and leaves it on,
Yeah.
Mhm.
and then it's blasting, when the commercials come on, they just loud, and I wake up. So now she's sound asleep, and I'm up for hours because you know what I'm saying. I just been woken up at 3 o'clock in the morning. You know what I'm
From the
saying? So
commercials.
I'm
The
like,
bright
yo,
commercials.
when you finish or when you start feeling yourself sleepy, turn it off. You know what I'm saying? So but she won't do that. And then also it's like the TV is like it's a big TV and it's bright.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So she'll have the TV on and like it's like stuff flashing and stuff going on and it's usually it's usually women killing their husbands, those murder shows or
Snapped
whatever.
is really good.
Really good.
Oh my god.
And
I watched them
so
all.
I turned on the brightness because it's just like all these flashing lights, so I'm trying to sleep.
Yeah.
So doesn't it make sense? Like it has a method to the madness.
Uh-huh.
So I'm trying to not complain about it. Instead of complaining, I just turn the brightness down.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? So,
That seems a common ground
yeah, you know what I'm saying? And you know.
to some.
That's
Right, to
funny.
some.
I'm like, why
All of
do they
this to
film the
say
movies like
that it never ends.
never ends.
30 years, 40 years, however long, it never ends.
Yeah, I think sometimes there's not too much of a gap. So you
Mhm.
find couples that have been together a long time that you don't see. I feel like with us, you see the drastic differences, but we still make it work, you know?
Mhm.
And we still have our individuality. We still communicate our
Mhm.
frustrations and our issues and our this and that. So we bicker a lot sometimes.
Mhm.
And so I just think that's our ebb and flow. I think every marriage has it, finds it. but if you don't find it, is where it creates the divide.
Yeah.
But you got to be committed to finding
Yeah.
it. You
Yeah.
know, because I remember somebody telling me they had an issue, and I was like, I can't help you. We have the same issue. We just like I can't help you. He said, so you haven't no, I haven't figured it out. It's not everything is figure. Everything is figure outable. Everything is figure outable, but everything doesn't have to be figured out.
Yeah, I got you.
Yeah, and even things we were talking about, the quirks, and it was funny, but at the same time, there's a lesson in that because, you know, like those could have been contention points. And I guess to some point she got mad and chased me to the house.
Yeah.
But finding a way, okay, instead of if she does the TV thing at night, okay, so I put the TV where it turns off automatically at a certain time. I put the brightness down. So it's like, so instead of fighting about, okay, what can I do?
Yeah, where can we come?
You
Yeah,
know
where
what I'm
we
saying?
come to a common ground.
Yeah, and we find a way. There's something to be said. They said like when you have a relationship where when you stop being willing to let the other person win, you know what I'm saying, and that's when the relationship pretty much crumbles. You know what I'm saying? So you know, if I'm always trying to win everything and I'm not letting her win anything, then we're gonna be at each other's, you know, we're gonna be at each other's head and it's up. You know what I'm saying? The relationship is up because nobody ain't trying to let the other person win. They want to win every argument, they want to win every conflict, they want to win, and it ain't gonna work. So you got to find ways, you know, without compromising your morals, you know, and stuff like that. But you got to find ways to, you know, okay, but let that ride. I can work with this. Like if I do that, you know what I'm saying, and find ways that instead of just looking for ways that how they ain't got to change, look at ways that things you can change some things to make it, you know what I'm saying, make it work.
Yeah, that's dope. I love that. Well, we got some gems in here. I appreciate y'all for sharing your story and like giving us some insight because I think a lot of people. I feel like a lot of people just want love. They want happy life, happy relationships and stuff like that. And it's really good being able to hear it from like people. Like it's just about figuring it out and like choosing each other is really what it comes down to.
And it's good to have y'all on here too, because we don't get a lot of Black depictions of long, healthy relationships. Like I don't rarely hear or see any public figures coming out and talking about their relationship. When it comes to a Black couple. So it's beautiful to have y'all who've been through it. Y'all are going on 40 years together. It's still doable. It's still gonna work, you know, but we don't hear that a lot. So it's been like I said, I vouch, like y'all have such a beautiful family. Like I just like more people need to see that. It's worth going in it with somebody that's worth it, you know, too. So thank y'all for coming on.
Thank you guys so much. You guys, please make sure to comment, you know, what you guys thought about what we were talking about. We'll be sure to, Mom's not really on social media, but you can definitely, we'll tag my dad at Miles Mussenden on Instagram and, you know, check him out. And
on what isn't something a big show coming out?
Oh, new show dropping. Is this episode gonna come? Not a new show. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
We have the finale.
The finale is coming out. The show that he's currently on, which is on NBC.
NBC, The Irrational, the finale for The Irrational coming up on the 11th.
Yeah.
A major guest star all through the episode. It's going to be fire. So definitely tune in to NBC on February 11th.
Comes out at 10 p.m.
10 p.m. Yeah.
I'll be there.
I'll be there. Oh, yeah, because we're doing like a watch party, right?
Probably
to be,
you know.
We're doing a watch party.
We'll
watch too.
Please make sure you guys check that out and spam all the NBC and Irrational whatever, letting them know Miles was amazing.
Want to see him again.
But thank you guys. See you in the next episode.
Well, I want to tell them one thing though.
No. What do you have to tell them, Dad?
You can put it insert it. I want to look right in their eye in the camera, and I want to tell them something.
Okay.
All right, right here.
Okay.
So
he's like, move out the way.
Make a decision that y'all gonna be together and y'all gonna stay together. You gotta decide that. You know what I'm saying? You gotta know that's what you want to do. And then once you gotta do that, you gotta invest in that relationship. So even when you think you got the answers, invest. There's nothing wrong with going to counseling. There's nothing wrong with doing little retreats to improve your relationship. You got to invest. This stuff don't happen magically by osmosis. It has to be intentional. And if you do that, you have a chance. If you think it's just going to be all bed of roses, then your chances are slim that you're going to make it a long time. So I want to encourage everybody. I want us to be together. Black love is a beautiful thing. All love is a beautiful thing. all love matters. Right? So yeah, man, do that, and you have a chance. It's gonna be all right, and let's do beautiful things, make beautiful things together. All right, that's my piece.
And that's why we call them for advice.
Yeah.
Later.
Thank you.